Hi. I'm going live a little bit early. So, I don't know if anybody's here yet, but I'll get to see when you guys come in. So, I'm excited since I missed a couple weeks, not a couple days. So I'm literally talking to myself right now because none of you are here. That's okay. 7 minutes. Hey, Beth. Hey. Oh, I guess I couldn't tell if anybody was here. It's bad. There are 5 people here. Hey, Aura, how are you? So, Aura, hey, Amy. Aura, did you have a chance to watch the class from Nomi's Dragons yet? I looked for you. I don't think you were on there when I was on there, but I don't know. But I have not put the first stitch in on that. Hey, Cindy. Hey, Anne. Hello, Frederica. Hey, Kathy. Hey, B. And I'm sorry I missed the last couple weeks, and I'll tell you where I was. Hey, Robin. Hey, Kathy. Gosh, I'm glad I signed in early. Yay. And I'm glad you guys had enough faith to join because I just posted the link. Yeah, so Ara, I've enjoyed your pictures. So thank you for posting those. Hey, Susan. Hey, Pam of Nomi's Dragons. I really want to stitch on mine. And Mr. Ponder is running an errand for a friend of his tonight. And he bought a dump trailer. I don't know if you know what that is, but it's basically a big trailer that's kind of low to the ground, and it has a mechanism that can lift it up and a little door on the back that it can dump stuff out, kind of like a dump truck, but it's really, really small. Hey, Debbie. So it's not like a big truck, but he's wanted one he's been talking about it the whole time we've been working on the Baird house. So it figures that right now when we're getting ready to finish, he would actually buy one. Yeah, the threads are gorgeous. I'm in love with the threads from Nomi's Dragons. Hey, Cheryl. So he bought this dump truck and then he went and got a bunch of rocks. And his friend's got a house at some lake around here and needed the rocks. And so he's going to drive the rocks down to the lake house. I guess they didn't have rocks down there. I don't know. I think they just wanted an excuse to buy the dump trailer. Hey, Jody. Gosh, it's good to have you on. Um, yeah, and I'm glad because he's been talking about it a while, so I'm glad he got it. So many times he said it would be so much easier if I had a dump trailer. And so yesterday, he already had the rocks. He went and picked up the rocks right after he picked up the trailer, and he took them to the Baird house. And we've been digging some ditches over there to try to get our basement to drain. And so the basement used to be fine. And beside us, somebody built the property got developed, and it basically, when it got developed, it got flattened out and all the water drains off that. And I'm using my hands, you can't see me. It got flattened out and all the water drains off that and straight into our basement. And so now our basement's wet all the time. And by wet, I mean it's the mud down there, because it's a dirt basement. It's so thick that we kind of got stuck in there a little bit when we were working on the insulation. Like our boots sank down in it so much that you had to really pull to get your feet out. It was crazy. Um, so Everett's been digging some ditches back behind it, and there's this 30-foot deep drainage pipe. Oh, yeah, you have to have a truck. We've got a really old truck that it's really hilarious because Everett rolled it off a hill here at our house one day sideways. He didn't get hurt, but all the neighbors saw it. It's hilarious, and people were stopping. I've just moved in very comfortably to my country life. I'm not a jet setter anymore, I can tell you that. Hey, Rita. So our truck is all beat up and stuff, but it pulls that trailer okay. But that's the reason he wants to go tonight, because he's going to be overweight and he thinks he can shimmy down there without getting a ticket. Hey, Deborah. Without getting a ticket, because between his truck and the trailer and all the rock, he's about at least 2 tons, which is 4,000 pounds overweight. Um, so anyway, he's digging these ditches and he broke a hole. He dug down deep enough to where he got to the side of that big, huge, it's a big commercial, like drainage thing. And he actually climbed down in there one time. That's why we know how deep it is. And he works for the Department of Transportation. So he's used to all these construction things, and he knows how they all work because he's responsible for making sure they get put in right when the roads get built. Hey, Robin. Yeah, it's the a lot of the older houses here built in the 1920s or so have dirt basements. My house I grew up in had a dirt basement, and I didn't mind it at all. And my dad kind of dug it out and concreted part of it, but we actually used the dirt part to store root vegetables in the winter. So we had a garden, and we would take our potatoes and our onions and stuff and put them on the dirt down there. And some of them we would eat, and some of them grew roots, grew some eyes, and we would use them to plant with the next year. And I say we liberally. They didn't let me do that. I just got to pick up rocks. Hey, Elena. My mom and dad did all the planting. I had to turn off my little heater. So he busted a hole into the side of this big drainage thing, and he hooked our, I'm still using my hands. I think I've got you too high tonight. Let me roll you down. You wouldn't think a Southerner would talk with their hands that much. And he hooked our pipe into the sidewall of this other pipe. And then he needed the gravel to cover it up. So he bought the gravel for his friend, who I'm sure will pay him back. But then we had to, because the dump trailer was so big and the area we needed to get was small, we still had to shovel out the rocks. And so I got in the dump trailer and shoveled out the rocks and into the wheelbarrow that he then had to roll over there and dump into the ditch. So the first use of the dump trailer was not as useful as it should have been, but it was fun. Hey, Melanie. Hey, Sharon. Hey, Lori. So anyway, that's what we've been doing over there, and painting and trying to get some high spots fixed with get some rotten wood off and finish up some high spots, because the gutter man, the guy who's putting up all the gutters, because this house has never had gutters, was supposed to come on May the 5th, and we put him off a week because we were supposed to get a lot of rain this week and over the weekend, and we didn't think we'd get finished with this work that we had to do, but now the rain keeps moving out. Hey, Kathleen. Hey, Terry. Both moving rocks this week. I've got a messed up shoulder. It's funny. I was helping Allie with her goats one day. I probably told you guys about this, and I hurt my left knee really bad. Like, it really hurt for a while. It felt like my kneecap was out of joint. And then I was picking up some documents at my sister-in-law's business, or doing something over there, and I literally, just out of the blue, standing still, fell over backwards. Know how that happened, but I stumbled forever, and I just kept stepping back and back and back and back and back and back, and finally I fell, and I was trying to get back far enough to where my head was going to hit the grass and not the gravel. Hey, Sheila. Anyway, that was a success, and my hard head didn't get hurt, but my tailbone got really badly bruised, possibly broken. And then my right shoulder has been trying to get frozen. Like, I had a frozen shoulder on my left shoulder for a year during the pandemic. It took a year to get better. And I went to the doctor, and I had 2 steroid shots, and I did physical therapy, and it just wouldn't get better, my left shoulder. And I finally stopped going to the doctor and just started making myself use it, and it got better. And so I haven't gone to the doctor with my right one, but I've just been using it, which is why I volunteered to shovel yesterday, because I'm right-handed and I knew I would have to use it. Hey, Barbara. And anyway, it hurt last night. It aches in the night when I do that, but I think it keeps it from getting frozen, and eventually it'll get better. But yes, I've been pretty crippled lately with my left knee, my tailbone, and my right shoulder. It's fun. Getting old, I'm telling you. But so where I was the first week I was gone is Catherine, who works at the shop. You guys have probably talked to her on the phone at some time. Her family is all in Louisiana, and she wanted to go visit, and she had some stuff that she needed to bring back. Her mother had died recently, in the last few months, and her sister had moved into the old home house, and her brother lives right beside that house. And so anyway, she needed to bring some things back, and so she wanted to drive. And so I volunteered to drive her down in the Subaru. And she said she had to get like a Lane cedar chest or a cedar chest. I don't know what brand, but a cedar chest, and a macrame hanging that she made. And I thought that'll fit in the CB. And because I've got a cross track that I use here, it's really great for the mountains. And we took Ayla V, who is just turned 8 the Friday before we went. Ayla V, if you remember the early days of the shop, we took a picture of a teeny tiny little girl. She was 3 years old, and she had a hoop or a stand, and she was stitching. And that was Ayla V. So she was our youngest stitcher for a long time at 3 years old. And so we took her, and she was good as gold. And we drove all the way down. The first day we drove down to like an hour outside of New Orleans. And we stayed there for a night with some of Catherine's really good friends. And then we drove into New Orleans, and we stayed there for a night. And that was pretty neat. And then we drove 3.5 hours further over to where her brother and her sister are, and her parents used to live. And we stayed there for about 4 days. And so in that trip, I got to teach 4 little girls how to stitch in different places. So that was a lot of fun. And I waited until they asked me, and they all asked me. So it was a lot of fun. The youngest was the really little girl that I put a picture up of, who was also 3. And she did just fine. And then the others were all like 7, 8 years old. So it was fun. It was fun. And then we drove back. It was a 15.5 hour drive back. And so the funny part of the story is it turned into a lot more stuff. And we were like the Beverly Hillbillies coming back. We had the cooler and 2 storage boxes strapped to the top. And we had so much stuff into the Subaru that we had to put one of the seats down. So LV was sitting in just a tiny area in the back seat. And we had stuff tucked all in and around that cedar chest, like underneath it where the legs are, everywhere. Like if you opened the back door on the passenger side, stuff would have fell out. There was so much stuff in there. But we got it all back, and it was fun because I happened to be at Catherine's house when her daughters were looking through it, and it was mostly their stuff, like their high school stuff and stuff, and in middle school. And they were just so thrilled to see these memories of theirs. So it was fun. It was definitely a good trip. But I was really worried about my tailbone because that was a long drive. And so I bought this really fancy pillow before I went down there that had like a little cutout for your tailbone. And strangely enough, by the time I got back, my tailbone was kind of healed. And so it really doesn't hurt anymore, just a tiny little bit once in a while. So I don't know if it's good karma or what. But it had happened about 3 weeks before I went, and it was really sore the day before I left. So I was like, oh, I don't know how this is going to go. And then my knee, it was kind of bad down there because when it hurts, you can't put any weight on it. You just have to stop, and you look like something bad has happened to you, and everybody goes, you okay? And you're like, I'll be fine. It's been really a lot better. So I've had that happen a few times since I've been back, but it's been really a lot better. And Allie has moved to Brasstown, which is about an hour and a half, 2 hours away from here, to the Campbell Folk School, because she's actually a weaving instructor down there, and she got a full-time job, which is great because she needed the insurance, and she'll still be doing our charting and stuff, and she'll come up and help us on the weekend because she's pretty close. She was actually here this past week on Monday, but she took her goatees, and so her goatees are there with her, and everybody's happy, and she's nesting and happy, and so it's all good. This week, she's going to be at Penland Folk School, which we have like 3 right around us that are great, within like 2 or 3 hours in any direction. So that's all pretty cool. And actually, I'm going to be teaching at Campbell Folk School next year in January. So I'm going to teach beginning needlepoint down there. If any of you guys want to come and take beginning needlepoint at Campbell Folk School, it'll be in their next catalog that comes out. And then I might start teaching some other classes down there too. So it's fun. And it's one that we've done in the shop. It'll be fun. So that's my big adventures. I do want to say, so that I don't forget, we did finally get Alice Ellen Usher back from the printer. Yay! So here she is. It's a really pretty chart, and I hope you guys like it. It does have this big centerfold in it. I'll show you, it's like the chart part of it's really nice and easy to see. It's all cross stitch, so if you want to do it on Ada, you can definitely do it on Ada. It's one color, but you can mix it up if you want to. And inside the book is some really cool history we had for her, and we have to thank the orphanage for, I think, most of this we got from them. And then you can see here where she picked out part of it because it was a stigma to be an orphan at that point in time. But that is present on a lot of charts. And I'll tell you what it says. It says North Wing, New Orphan House is what's missing. And you can see the N and the W. So that's North Wing, New Orphan House is what she picked out. And we went ahead and charted that off some other bristle samplers that have it and included it optionally for you. So if you decide you want to stitch that. And I did start it because you know that's my special skill. But I started it with the fall foliage color from Gloriana on the Mayflower, which I mentioned I was going to use, and it's really pretty. And when I say I started, I literally took like 5 or 6 stitches. I didn't get very far. But one of the things I wanted to mention to you, so all of our charts have these cool background if you buy the hard copy. This one's out there in PDF too. I already put it out. So if you need it in PDF, hey Joanne, if you need it in PDF, it's out there. So for you guys like Frederica or Joanne who don't want to, you know, pay all the shipping and all the import stuff, you can just download it. The stuff that's on the chart, the background, Allie usually tries to find some free artwork that has something to do maybe with the place or the time. And so it's really kind of fun to look at because it's usually related somehow to the needlework. And she usually tells me, but I don't remember asking her about this one. And then she puts some cool stuff at the bottoms of the pages sometimes. And I was looking at this one. Like if you look at the bottom of that, it's squirrels. I thought that was so cool. I didn't even know that's what it was, but until I was looking at it later. So I thought that was pretty neat. So even for me, there's some little, we call them Easter eggs, little surprises in here that she throws in sometimes. And I go through a pretty thorough review, but honestly, what I'm doing when I'm reviewing it is I'm checking the numbers and I'm checking the grammar and I'm checking the spacing and, you know, and if there's thread colors in here, I'm checking all those thread colors. I'm checking the chart to make sure that it carries over right. Because one time we had it, something happened between, you know, the time it left us and when we, I don't know, we clearly did it. But when it went to the printer, and it was Mabel Teak, it was the first version of Mabel Teak, a page had shifted down. And so it was missing like part of the chart. So I go through it in pretty good detail and look at all that stuff. And I check the fabric stuff on the back. But I don't usually take time to enjoy the chart until it's done. So it's kind of fun for me to look at. And, you know, we check all the stitches and stuff a couple of times to make sure we didn't mess anything up. But I will tell you, a lot of times, you know, it's hard to make it perfect when you've got one this big. So if you ever find something wrong with it, let us know. We have been working on a separate website, not for sales of Sassafras Samplers charts, but just for information, and so that we can hold the updates, you know, until the next printing. So if you've got an older copy or something where we had something askew, you can get it corrected. And then our little logo for Sassafras Samplers is actually a local artist. And I told that story one time, but I saw this artwork and it was two deers, and they were holding looks like a little sampler between them. And I just loved it. And so I said, Allie, can you figure out who designed that? Because it was a watercolor thing. And she looked and she couldn't find it. And I looked and I couldn't find it. And months went by and we were getting ready to publish our second chart. And I looked again and it popped right up. And I was like, are you kidding me? And so I sent the artist a note and asked her if she would do a custom for us. And she said that she didn't do that anymore, but she did do one for us. And then I guess it was like 2 years later, I realized that she's local. I had no idea she was local. So it's pretty neat. You'll see some of her artwork if you come to the Barrett House too. She's done some other really beautiful things that I bought for the Barrett House. So you'll have it there. Hey, Martha. Hey, Brenda. So you'll get to see some of her artwork there too. Now, because I dragged my feet on this thing so long, and it wasn't just me, but I'll take full credit for it. Um, I put it on sale. And so I'm not going to publish it on the website or anything or on the Facebook page outside of what I've already said, which is that there's information in this video. So if you wanted this chart, you can go out and buy it. It's like $5 off right now. And I'm going to keep it that way through Sunday. So if you're watching this video and it's Sunday, you know, it'll still be on sale for you. I'll take it off sale sometime on Monday. So there's that if you like it. And I put all the links out there for all the linen and all the threads. Well, let me show you some threads because, you know, we sold a lot of the, so we don't have a whole lot of Swaat Alger silk hanks. I think we have 945 and we might have one skein of 2925, something like that. We'll get more if you want Swaat Alger. You know we have the needlepoint ink stuff. So you've seen that. We've got a lot of needlepoint ink. But we still have the Belle Soie. We sold a lot of the Belle Soie, but I reordered it right away. And so we've already gotten it in. But I ordered this really beautiful green color, which is not showing up very well. I don't know if that's going to help. I bet this doesn't look any better on your screen than it does the screen I'm looking at. But this is a beautiful green color. It's called Collard Greens. And it's beautiful. And it doesn't look anything like it looks on the screen. But if you go look up a picture of collard greens, I haven't put this on the website yet, but I'm going to. And this will be hanks. And it'll be 40-yard hanks, just like we did the other stuff. So that if you want to stitch your Bristol in this green or you want it for anything else, you'll have it. But this is how it comes. And then we, you know, we put it together in the 40 yards. And I want to show you the reds because they're just so pretty. This is Sister Scarlet. And that's not too far off what it looks like. It's more of a berry color than probably the red that's showing up here. But just beautiful. I want to show you one more. I hope you don't think it's mean of me to show you this. I just really... Cranberry. Cranberry is really pretty. It's a deep, deep crimson color. Crimson. So, the only one that's not on the website is the green one. The red ones are out there, and the blue, we got more of the blue. So if you like the blue, it's out there. And then, of course, you've got all those beautiful NPI hanks that we had before, too. So, yeah. It's back over here. It's going to be a rambling night. I hope you're stitching. I'll tell you when to look up. I dropped something. Oh. Okay. So, also with the Alice Ellen Usher, we made a special project card for it. And we pulled off some of the motifs from the sampler. And so this comes, one of these comes with every chart. So you'll have it in there. And then we'll put them up for sale individually because we ordered a bunch. So if you really like this one and you want to order more, they come in packs of 10 for $4. So pretty inexpensive. So the other thing that we sent to the... Drop something. Hey, Stacy. East Tennessee, yay. The other thing that we happened to send to the printer this week, and we didn't happen, we worked really, really hard, was the new Dutch Dalliance sampler from Susan Greening Davis. I don't have it back yet, but I know it's in print. And when we get it back, she's going to have it for sale at, what's that event? Celebrations. She's going to be at Celebrations, and she'll have it for sale up there, and we'll go ahead and put it on sale here. She and I are the only places that'll sell it. But it is the larger chart of this class version that we're doing. Again, this looks really... I'm going to start stitching this week so you can see it. This looks really gray and blah. It's not. It's beautiful, beautiful bright colors. And this is the fold-up that it goes on. So I know I've shown you this before. There's still some spots left in this class. And honestly, I think this is the most beautiful class that Susan's ever done. I think the sampler, the charted sampler, the big one, which is a separate purchase, I think it's also one of the more beautiful samplers I've ever seen charted. And we charted it for her. And so the chart looks a lot like our charts, but they stitched the model. So she had a model stitcher who stitched the model. So you get to see a model on the front of her chart. And we show a picture of the antique in there too. And then Allie put the chart and everything together. So it's a really beautiful sampler, but this small is an extract of it basically. And so you get to learn the stitches in here. So in this chart is a stitch that we struggled with, and it's called the top winder stitch, and it is right here. And we had to get help from Terry Bay to chart it. And so Terry Bay actually sent us the charting to use for that. It's a really, it doesn't look like much. It's not a stitch that we had used. And we talked to, Susan talked to Jacob DeGroff about it. And he had seen it. I think he said he had seen it, but didn't have a chart of it. It's only, I think we've only found it really in Dutch whitework. So that's one of the new stitches. And if you look, where's the other one at? If you look down here, backwards here, this is an eyelet with a buttonhole around it. So that's kind of neat. And of course, you've got four-sided stitch and satin stitch. That's another eyelet. And then this is pretty cool. This is woven bars here. It's hard because I'm backwards. Anyway, still spots in this class. I don't think you'd regret it if you want to do that. It's beautiful. And it's very reasonably priced. It's in silks. And so we'll use needlepoint silks with it. And you get this pre-made fold up. And you attach your finished piece to this. And then Allie has handmade woven buttons for the closure. So it's really beautiful. So that's all I'll go into about that. The only other thing I'll say about that is, I think I brought them over here. We made some really special name tags for it. I know I brought them. I just don't know where I put them. I think I put it behind you. Okay. So, sorry about that. We wanted to do something really special. And so when you sign up for the class, I've got to get these in the mail to everybody. We send you this pre-made pocket. And so it's open right here, and you can put whatever you want to in it. This is a nice, really nice felt on the back. And if you look at that, it says, "Still Stitching with Susan at Sassafras School of Stitchery," which is what I named my little class thing. So that's really the first time this name has been used. And then it's a really beautiful blue ribbon on it. And she has designed a little piece for you to stitch that fits on the front. And it uses one of the motifs from the sampler. So that's kind of a freebie that we threw in there. So it is not a Zoom class. Although I think we're going to try to teach it here a couple times. And then I'm probably going to help Susan make it into an online version to where you can do it online. So if you can't travel, it's really important to us that we do make it accessible. So we've already kind of talked through how to do that. So it might be 6 months or a year out, but I think sometime next year that will be an online class for you. So you'll get that. I wanted to tell you about something else I did. So I don't know if you guys have seen the beginning needlepoint. Hey, Colleen, the beginning needlepoint online classes that I did, but it kind of takes everybody through stitching this really neat little Rhodes heart or Rhodes box, and then the waffles stitch, and then some Scotch stitches, and then it's a braided stitch on the edge. And we still have people signing up for it. And I realized the other day that I never put the video out there of how to put it together. And so, and I stitched a back for mine just with those same stitches. And so I started trying to make a video of how to put it together this week. And it didn't work. So just how I tried to put it together didn't work. I've got it to where it works now, but I'm really kind of bummed about it because I wanted mine to be a needle keep. So you can actually frame it, which I think a lot of people have framed it. And it's a very small little piece. You see, here's my hand. It's tiny. And it's a Michael Bourne piece. It's a freebie from Michael Bourne. He was my needlepoint teacher, my first needlepoint teacher. and he gave me the rights to use his charts, sell his charts, and teach from his charts. So I'm pretty excited about that. But I cut my canvas, and so it's needlepoint canvas, and I have inside I stitched a blank piece of canvas to one side, and on the other side I stitched wool, and I like the wool better. Now mine is going to be closed on 3 sides so that it'll be a scissor keep. But when I cut the canvas, the first side I cut the canvas like it is now, close, and then I started trying to whip stitch it together. Well, the canvas thread just pulled off, and so that didn't work. So on the next piece I left it wider, and I started doing the same thing, whip stitching it together on the edges, and the canvas thread still came off on the outside. And by that I mean, like, see how that one's pulled up right there? It just pulled the outer thread off. And like, if you look at the top of this one, that's the back. And if you look at the top, the outer thread is completely gone. And so I'm not worried about it because the stuff is going to stay in there. But the way I'm putting it together now is I'm just going through the edges. And I'm using 103 to stitch it together. Now, what I like to use to join things is 103 or linen thread. Most of the time I use linen thread if I'm lacing or joining, but with this 103 matches this perfectly. And it's actually very strong, and it's a good joining thread. And so, you know, I've got one side of it done. It's just not done the way I wanted it to be done. So I just wanted to share that with you because, you know, nobody's perfect. Things don't work out sometimes. But I'm going to show people how to do it this way, and then I might make another one and see if I can figure out another way. But what I'm doing with this is just going through the side, and this thread matches it so closely that it doesn't matter that I'm actually going through the stitches. You can't even see them. And so I'll close it up, you know, on 3 sides. And then it'll be a nice little snug scissor keep for the top. And I think it'll be fine. But I'm kind of bummed that what I wanted to work didn't work. And that's just, yeah, I should have known it wouldn't work. But sometimes you don't know until you try. And I think that's what happens to a lot of designers, especially if they're doing finishing. You just don't know until you try sometimes. And sometimes you've got experience with it and you know it's not going to work. And so when you see a class that's self-finishing like Susan Greening Davis or Jackie Duplessis, or so many other people are doing smalls now, that's a big part of the design process, is making sure that it works and it goes together. So anyway, I just thought I would share that. The other thing that's kind of neat on this, I think I had a needle in here somewhere, maybe I didn't. When you have some of these needlepoint stitches, like that stitch there is, it's a Rhodes square, it's a little one, or the waffle stitch, which is, that's a waffle stitch, that's a waffle stitch. The one the needle's in is a little Rhodes square. And then, of course, this bigger one, the Rhodes heart on the front. They're great needle keeps. And so if you do any needlepoint, or you can do it with floss, if you want to do it with floss on the top corner of your canvas, it's a great needle keep because your needle just slides right underneath it and just stays there. And so that's the cool thing about making this little guy and turning it into a scissor keep, is it'll also be a little needle keep because you can just put your needles on the back and no big deal. You can also put little buttons on here, or you can attach a ribbon and make it hang around your neck, which I have a few things like that I like, which is why Susan's name tag pocket is like that. Because if you get the chance to go to a retreat or a class or something like that, it's really nice to be able to put your room key in there, or your pen or whatever. Hey, Caroline. I'm doing good. I'm hanging in there. I told all my stories about my ailments to begin with. Get that out of the way. I'm not sure what that is, inherited stitches. You might have to translate that. Oh, you've got to go eat dinner now. Be back in I'm not good with those things because I don't text enough. Be back in a bit. Got it. Okay, I'm with you. Enjoy your dinner. So anyway, that's one of the things I did that failed that I have to try to figure out. On my journey, Catherine's sister-in-law, Donna, gave me this beautiful vintage looking Halloween fabric. I mean, it's a ton. I'm super excited about it. And so I could make it into a project bag, except I don't know how. And I could make it into a quilt, except I don't know how, but I really want to make a quilt. And so I've got a lot of little Halloween fabrics and stuff around, so I'm going to try to make a quilt. And the biggest reason I want to do it, I had a friend who, look at this, isn't that neat? You know, like the little selvage areas on quilt fabric sometimes is so neat. All those little witches' hat in different colors. That's neat. My friend Chris, who passed away in 2018, was in the process or had plans to make a quilt for us to display at the Baird house. It was a Halloween quilt because she knew I loved Halloween and fall. And she was so excited because she was like, I just can't wait to come and see it hanging off the railing off the front of the house. And of course I would have done that for her. I wouldn't have left it out there all the time, but I would have hung it out there for her. So I want to do that just kind of in memory of Chris and because I want to learn how to make a quilt. So I thought that was fun, and I thank Donna for that. She's a big quilter, so it was fun. I didn't get to see all of her craft room and stuff because we were super busy. She had her family there, but there were a ton of quilts in the room I was staying in. It was great, and I had a good time there. They were really, really wonderful hosts, so it was fantastic. So I'm excited about that, and while I'm thinking about project bags, I want to thank somebody. I'm just going to say the first name, but thank you, Barbara, for the beautiful project bags. She sent up some project bags that she said that we could keep or use for door prizes at our grand opening. I will show them to you. They're beautiful. So look, so it's embroidered. Isn't it beautiful? There's 3. It'd be so hard for me to let them go. And I don't know if I'd be able to, but she made me something that was really beautiful too. Which I'm not going to show you because I have to give one to Allie. And I don't think Allie watches this, but just in case, I don't want to ruin her surprise. But thank you, Barbara, for the fabulous gifts. Somebody will love these, and I will share them because you made me such a beautiful one. It's a little bit different from these. I'll share them, but they're really nice and big. So this is really beautiful, really nice quality. The way the zippers put in and the inside fabric, they're just really beautiful. Thank you very much. I know whoever gets them is going to love them. If I let them go, which I will. I enjoy giving things away. I don't know if you guys have figured that out, but I enjoy it. So yesterday, 2 days ago, I just felt really overwhelmed. Do you guys ever feel like that? You're just like, oh, there's so much to do and just not enough time to do it. And so I was down here in my little shop by myself, and I was putting some stuff away, and I saw this kit from Jeanette Douglas, and I've been wanting to do it, and it goes on these spools, which we do have some spools that we got with the kit, and I thought, that's little. And you know, I'm all about starting. So I started it. And I've really just about got it finished. And so I'm going to use it to show you guys the nun stitch. I'm going to record it probably tomorrow. It had all the threads with it. And so this is something I wanted to show you too. Like, I know we send out business cards and stuff with things, but you can take any kind of card. But if you buy from us and you get a business card and you're just like, I'm sick of all these business cards, I've got too many of them, you can just punch it with a hole puncher and use it to put your threads on. You know, and this one happens to be one that doesn't have anything on the back. So if I wanted to, I could write the colors. But with these few colors, I know what it is. But there were all these little threads, and I needed something. And, you know, I could have gotten a fancy thread card. But honestly, my stuff is in such disarray that I would have had to hunt for one. Whew, that was my table I'm sitting at. I would have had to hunt for one, and I didn't want to take one out of inventory. I try not to do that. So I made this. So if you're ever in a pinch and you need, use a card and just punch it with a hole punch and you're good to go. And so that's the threads. This is what it looks like again. And so you see down here on the bottom, that's all it is. Super tiny. And I have finished it except for the thread on the spool. Now, I went non-traditional and I chose a different color fabric. Let me see if I can put it on something white so you can... I might have to do something about the color. This is called Elephant Ear. I think Elephant Ear from Fox and Rabbit. And I just had a scrap laying here, and so that's what I picked up. So that is the whole size of it. It's tiny. And that's on 36 count. And all I have to do is finish filling in that bobbin. Now, I really kind of wanted the bobbin part to have like long threads so that it looked like threads on the bobbin. And I tried to run them underneath those cross stitches because I did those first. And that didn't work. And so I had to go back and put cross stitches. You know, like long threads, it would just go the width of the bobbin back and forth so it would look like thread. And if I had done that, I wouldn't have been able to see. If I did that first and then did the cross stitches, I wouldn't have been able to see where they went very well. So I didn't do that. Yeah, it is cute. But, you know, so it was just I needed some sanity in my life. And that has been the case for me. I don't know about you guys, but when I used to travel a lot and my job was really stressful, I would stitch, you know, and it made me feel better. And it still makes me feel better. So, you know, I really enjoyed doing it. And I'm just about done with it. So I will finish up my little thread bobbin probably tonight. And then tomorrow I'm going to record the nun stitch that goes around the edge. Because I promised you guys that for Red February. And so I will do that so that you can see that. And then I will put it on the spool. Because I do have the spool. Here it is. So there's all kinds of different spools. If you're interested in a spool like this and you can't find them anywhere, let me know. Because we do have the spool. And this is a little kit. Of course, we've still got them. I have to check and make sure they're online. I'll check that tonight. If you don't see it out there, check again tomorrow. Maybe I didn't put them online. We've had them for a long time. And sometimes when it gets really busy here, and it's just me, I don't get everything put online. And then somebody comes back behind me and they'll get it all put online. And I don't know if these got missed or not. But anyway. And they have some pretty little mother of pearl buttons. And some overdyed ribbon that goes with it. Okay. So, there's that. I did finish the 17. So, I took it with me. I was almost done with it when I went to Louisiana. And I took it down there with me because it was on 32 count. And I could see it. And so, I finished it. I finished the stitching. I haven't finished it because I want to video that part. Yeah, Lelena. That's great. You know, I would say I've been doing a lot of stitching. I just don't think I've finished a lot of things. I kind of literally poke at things all the time because I do enjoy starting. I have been stitching very consistently on the cryptid stitch from the Witchy Stitcher that I started back in the last year sometime. I want to say in the summer maybe. And it was like Loch Ness Monster, Yeti, Abominable Snowman, and all those little characters. And so I've been working on that pretty faithfully. The last one I was stitching was a jackalope. So it's kind of silly, but it's fun. And it's a pretty big piece. I'll have that finished sometime soon, but I've been kind of taking my time on that. And my whips, my main whips are that one, Kezia, because I started Kezia, which was our January release. And then, of course, I put a few stitches into Alice. But Alice, for me, will be kind of an ongoing stitch. It'll take me a while, I think. She's a big girl, but I'm excited about her. And I think you guys will like seeing what I picked. And I'll try to get enough done to show it to you next week. But I've loved it. And I really have to start working on my Nomi's Dragons. Yeah, Kathy, you're probably right. Working on something complicated helps you relax because you have to concentrate. That is true. And that's what has always been good for me. It focuses my mind enough to where all the other stuff goes away. You know, it's kind of like self-therapy because you've got all this stuff in your head that's constantly, you know, you wake up in the middle of the night and you go through the list of all the things that you didn't get done the day before. And, you know, and then you lay awake thinking about that. Or for me, I don't know about you guys, but for me, if I have too many things on my plate, which is pretty much my state of existence these days, and probably always. I get kind of overwhelmed and I'm not able to do anything. Like, I'll stop. I'll just shut down if I get really overwhelmed, and I'll do something that just is, kind of methodical. Like, I like to kit when I'm got stuff going on. Like, if I've got a class coming up or something else, I'll try to kit. Well, thanks, Lillian. I'm glad you like the smaller ones for that. That's why I picked that Jeanette Douglas up and did it, because it was so small. So Beth asked me a question about, am I stitching Alice in a hoop? Yes. So I started her in hand. I'll probably stitch her in a hoop. I do have some, oh, I want to tell you something else. Good thing that happened. I do have some stretcher bars, but I've never been successful stitching with stretcher bars. I'm not stretcher bars, scroll frame. I've never been successful stitching with a scroll frame. I don't have my coordination right for that somehow. I like to stab and poke, which you would think would be fine, but I use one hand. I'll push it, I'll go behind and I pull it. Or I stitch in hand, and I've learned to use the sewing method. And I'm getting pretty good at that, and I'm getting happier with how mine looks. Double-handed, I've done with needlepoint, but I've not really done that a lot with cross stitch. So I might try to put it in my scroll frame and stitch it. Yeah, I think stitching is therapeutic too. And yeah, I think inherited stitches, that's true. If you've got an illness going on, the times that I have not been well, recovering from something or whatever, stitching has helped me. It's a solace, and I personally believe that it connects you to all the people. I know it sounds weird, but I think that it connects you to kind of, in a little bit of a spiritual way, all the other women and men, mostly women, who have stitched in time. You know what I mean? Like, it's your mind just kind of clears and your heart rate slows, which I know Beth has talked about this, and it just calms you and it gets the noise out of your head. And I feel like that's a gift, I guess is what I'm saying. I think that's a gift. And, I think that gift has existed since people started sewing for pleasure with needle and thread. And honestly, even if you're not sewing for pleasure, sometimes if you're sewing because you need to, it's also therapeutic. I think just the repetitive motion of it and the opportunity to create something. Terry, I have to tell you, that's the biggest reason I liked to do cross stitch when I was working my corporate job, is because in my corporate job, I never finished anything. And I know that, I tease a lot about not finishing, about starting, but I used to finish. And so when I was traveling and stuff and I stitched, I would finish. And it was the only thing I ever got to finish, because nothing else ever had a finish for my work. So I got to finish, which was great. So Beth was asking me, was I stitching in a hoop? I probably will waffle around, Beth, and I'll try it in a hoop, because I know I can stitch it in a hoop. She's a big girl. That's the only reason I'm thinking about putting her on the scroll frames, is because she is a great big girl. Now, if I'm going to travel, I'll probably put her in a hoop and just take her with me. But she's a big girl, and for that reason, I may put her in some scroll frames and try stitching and getting my method down for that. Now, let me tell you what fun thing happened. So in 2019, way back, and pre-pandemic days, I ordered a Millennium frame, and I had a couple scroll frames that I had ordered from them before, and I had gotten them. They took 8 months to come, but I had gotten them, 2 scroll frames. And I decided I needed some other size. And if I was going to order a different size, I would just order this frame that everybody was talking about. And so in 2019, in July of 2019, I ordered my Millennium frame and some other scroll frames. And then 2019 got really busy at the shop. And then 2020 came and I forgot. And I sort of had it in my head that I was missing it. but I wasn't gonna, I knew they took a long time because they were kind of made to order. And I did not want to get in front of anybody, if that makes sense. Like I knew that if I didn't want to displace anybody else in the line. And so I just kind of sat quietly and I thought, well, they'll get to me. Um, and then I kind of forgot. So I was doing some tax work a few weeks ago and I came across the invoice for it and I was like, oh, wait a minute. And I said, it's really late. I mean, it's 2022. I'm going to be looking really silly if I send a note now and say, hey, by the way. And I thought, it won't be the first time I've looked really silly. And so I sent an email and I said, hey, by the way, and I forwarded my something with it so that they would know I was telling the truth. I ordered this frame and I never got it. And oh, by the way, I've moved. And they came right back to me the next day and they said, oh my gosh, we're so sorry. We're happy to send it to you. And they did. And so I couldn't believe it. I mean, it was here within a week. I was just so flabbergasted. I was like, wow, it was really nice. And the only thing that I did give them my new address, it went to my old shop address, but the UPS or whoever it is that delivers it, FedEx, whatever, whichever one it was, knew where our new place was because it's just literally 3 miles down the road, and they brought it over there. And of course I wasn't there, but they called me. And I said, oh, yeah, you can leave it there. And usually they won't do that with something like that, but they did. So I was really grateful that they left it. And then Everett, I wasn't even in town. I was in Louisiana when that happened. And Everett was able to go over there and put it inside. It was curious that he didn't bring it home for me, but he put it inside the house over there. So I still haven't opened the stand part and put it together. But I did open up the scroll frame bars. So I guess the end of that story I wanted to say, because I know that they were super busy for a long time and some people were frustrated with them. Nobody's ever complained about their quality of frame because it is a beautiful scroll frame and floor stand and stuff. Beautiful, beautiful stuff. But I think that they've gotten themselves straightened out with their shipping now because they were lightning fast. I mean, I couldn't believe it, how responsive they were and how fast they were, and the English was fine. So I think they've gotten an assistant who can read and speak English, which, well, they're in England. I don't know what the story was. Well, I think the older gentleman, I know he was making them all, and I know he got just, overwhelmed with orders. So I'm sure that it's slowed down a little bit now because a lot of people have them that want them. But if you wanted it and you know what they are and you were on the fence because of shipping issues, I think they've got that all straightened out. So it came packaged really nicely. And it came really quick and they were very efficient. So I'm pretty happy about it. I'll eventually get it unpacked and put together. So yeah, it's kind of sad that I just let it go all that time, but hey, Deb, but I'm really, really impressed that they, got it done and got it to me. And I did not tell them, oh, I'm a shop owner or anything. I never did. I think on the final email that I sent them, it might have said that, but they had already, it might have had, Sassy Jacks on it. But before they knew any of that, they had already been Johnny on the spot and gotten it taken care of. And so I really believe that they've gotten their problem solved with getting things out the door. So you've had one on order for a year. Well, Deb, you should send them a note because they were really quick. Mine was since 2019. I don't know if you heard that part, but they were really quick and to get it done. So send them a note because maybe something happened because I think that's what happened with mine. Omanic, I've heard good things about Omanic too. Yeah, Millennium was the one with the shipping problems, and that's the one I got. 2 years for you to get yours after several emails. Yeah, that's kind of the stories I was hearing. So I don't know. I don't know if they're fixed or not, but I know that they took care of that pretty quick. And again, they didn't know anything about me other than my name and my shipping address. And it wasn't until the end that the email I sent, I think, had Sassy Jacks on it. So I think they were trying to be responsive, which made me hopeful that they have solved their issues. But Almanac, I've heard good things about, so that's another one you could try. It sounds like they're getting caught up. Okay, good. Still a wait. Talk to them on the phone and they're quick. Yeah, so I've heard that. I have heard that, Kathy. Um, and maybe they kind of got mine done quick because it had been since 2019. So I don't know. But, and it was paid for since 2019. That's the thing. Like when I ordered mine, it was paid for. So it had been paid for since 2019, which is why I had the receipt. So anyway, I just thought I would share that experience because for me, it was actually a positive outcome. So I want to show you two other things. I know I should unwrap these things, but I wanted to show you how it came. So it came in this bag, and it came in a big flat envelope, which I thought was good. And so it's from needlepoint.com, and it says very cute project inside. So I thought that label was cute. So you might see me steal that idea. We use squirrel labels. If you've never ordered from us, you probably haven't seen them, or if you haven't ordered recently, but we use these squirrel labels on our stuff. They were supposed to be price tags, but they sent us one version that didn't stick very well, so we couldn't use them, so we use them on packages. I didn't have to pay customs on mine, Kathy. I don't remember paying. I know I didn't pay customs. Maybe I'll get a bill for it. That could be the other thing. Sometimes that comes later. So I like to do counted needlepoint. I am not a fan of painted canvas. And that's kind of my secret pleasure, like, is needlepoint. So, I saw this one online. They just got me. It's like going through the line at the grocery store and they have all the candy and stuff right there on the checkout aisle. Well, this popped up on my screen. I was like, oh, I have to have that. And so it's a black cat. And it kind of looks like that TikTok clock. I don't know if you guys have ever seen that with the tail that goes back and forth. I actually have one of those too. It's blue. But so, Herschel, my cat Herschel was a black cat. And my cat Quinn was a black cat. And I had all these visions of how I could stitch this. So I'm actually really excited about it. I'm going to, his eyes are not going to be white like that. I'm going to leave the black part in there and make it silk. And, but then his eyes, the white part, will be like a golden green. And, anyway, it'll be a little homage to, all the little black cats in my life. So I'm excited about it. I have to figure out what stitches to, use for his fur and maybe for his eyes. So you guys that do needlepoint, if you have recommendations to me, please feel free to comment or send me a message and let me know what you think. I'm excited about it. I don't know when I'll get to it, but pretty excited about that. And the quilting thing. So I've never made a quilt. So if there is a quilt design that you think would be easy for a beginner, please let me know. I know a lot of you quilt. So I kind of, I don't want it to be just 5-inch squares. I have a little featherweight machine that I will use to piece it together. And then I would like to hand quilt it probably. Or if I don't feel like I can do that, I might take it and have it quilted. But if you think, yeah, he does look like Felix the cat. He looks exactly like Felix. But if you think of a quilt pattern that you think I could tackle, I would love to know. And, I would like that. And so on the quilt thing, the other thing my new friend Donna, my friend Catherine's sister-in-law, gave me was this book. And it's called Underground Railroad Sampler. And it is a quilt book. And it has the quilts. The story in it are, the quilts that were used to help escaped slaves find their way safely along the Underground Railroad. And the different quilts had different meanings. And so the different quilt blocks on this one has a different meaning. And not inherited stitches, Um, oh, what is her name? There's a person on Instagram that does some stitches. Stitcher of, what is it? I can't think of what her name is right now. But she took something like this and she turned them into cross stitch squares. She did like three of them and hung them on a quilt line. Stitches of Heritage, I think is her name. Hung them on a quilt line, and then also used another cross stitch pattern with a woman out there by the quilt line. And it gave me the idea of maybe making a sampler using some of these quilt squares as like a giveaway. Um, so, wow, 10 miles. That's close. Look at rail fence. Okay, I'll look at that. No triangles. Yeah. I have another funny story to tell you about quilts. So anyway, I'm thinking about doing that, and I want to talk to the woman that gave me the idea, which is Stitches of Heritage, and make sure she's okay with me doing something like that. But I think it would be great. I think it would be great fun from a history perspective, and then also just fun to stitch. A little modern kind of sampler with these blocks, and I mean like cross stitch them, not quilt them. This is a quilt book, but we can figure out how to make the cross stitch. But I would want to make it free. So anyway, here's the back of it that shows the different ones. So that's something I've been thinking about. So if you guys have opinions or thoughts on that, let me know. So my whole quilt thing. So because we were right beside a quilt shop, and I bought a quilt kit there for my brother for his 60th birthday. I was going to make it for him. And of course I didn't. I haven't put the first stitch in it. It was really neat though. It had some animals and stuff on it. And then, so I have that kit. And then Lori Holt did a kit that looked like a big cross stitch last year or year before. And it was a big X, and then it had little flowers and stuff. And so I bought that kit, and I haven't touched that because I don't know how to quilt. And so, but I thought it would look so pretty at the Baird house. And so I thought, I'll figure it out. And I bought the featherweight used at the quilt shop. Somebody brought it in there and didn't want it and wanted to sell it. And it was really inexpensive. And so they serviced it, and I bought it really inexpensive. So I have the little machine for it. And then I took a class with Jackie Duplessis last year in the summer with the Carolina Sampler Guild in Charlotte. And it was an ode to Jane. So Jane Austen. And if you quilt, that big Jane Austen quilt came out sometime last year, this year, sometimes recently. And it has, I think it said it has over like that. It has thousands of diamonds on it. And so I bought that kit too. So and I know I can't do that one. I know I can't do it. But I will figure it out. And so I want to get one done that I can do that will get my confidence up. That's not too hard. That I will enjoy doing. And I will love the Halloween one. And even if it's not perfect, I will love it. I don't mind if it's not perfect. But I want to work up to getting that Jane Austen one done. Well, and I'm thinking that Metro Stitches, that I could look at, some YouTube videos and figure it out. And I'm pretty crafty. But I know there's tips and tricks to that would make it easy. And so I do watch a lot of Lori Holt's videos, but they're mostly, I watch the cross stitch ones, and I don't have a ton of time to practice. And I won't start it until I get us open in the Baird house. But I'm thinking, and I'm collecting my things, but I'm thinking that whole Halloween thing, because I love Halloween so much in fall, that if I get that one going, I can do it. So, yeah, Ted, thanks for making me feel better. A layer cake lollipop shortcut. Okay. And I have a couple of layer cake things, I think, but I don't know what to do with them. Yeah, the Jane Austen kit came in a really beautiful box. The key is to starch it really well, and it's all on the bias. Yes, I do know Vonna. Yeah, yeah. I love Vonna. And she's been doing some videos, and she's got a new craft room, and they're really cool. So if you haven't watched Vanna's videos, you can go out and watch her. Um, Melanie, I don't know if Melanie's on tonight, but Melanie does fabulous videos. Melanie yarn and threads. Um, and I think I'll have to look at how it comes up. Melanie, if you're on, tell us how to find your floss tube. Terry, you got to encourage me. It looks crazy complicated. I can tell you that. And she said the Jane Austen quilt is crazy complicated. It does look crazy complicated, but I can work up to it. I'll get there. Um, I will tell you the first time I took a needlepoint class, I had never done a single solitary needlepoint stitch ever. And I was in my 30s. And I wanted to learn. And so I took I went to Michael Bourne's class and I told him when I signed up for it, I've never done needlepoint. And it was one with a whole bunch of different stitches. Yarns and threads. Okay, so Melanie just posted yarns and threads. So check out her videos. She does great videos. And she talks about knitting too. It's not just stitching, it's knitting. And you'll just love Melanie because I love her. And I have great taste in people. I hope. I've made a few mistakes along the way. We won't go into those. It was mostly men. I was young and dumb and I learned lessons. So where was I at with that? Um oh gosh. Jumped into a rabbit hole. So the Jane Austen quilt I know is hard. I'll figure it out. But I really want to do it. I really want to learn. And I think I can do it. Um, I think I can get there. So, oh, lollipop's a shortcut. You can definitely do it. Okay. And, I am good friends with Angie who owns the quilt shop. So I could go over there and get some help. Um, Wish you'd tried 40 count in your 20s rather than now in your 40s. I'm 53 and I don't love the 40 count. I have to do it under a magnifier. I mean, it's hard. It's not hard. It's just, I don't like to struggle. I don't. I do not like to struggle. But I'll figure out the quilting thing. Oh, the needlepoint. I was telling you about the needlepoint. That's where I was. Okay. So the first needlepoint class I took, you see I'm a squirrel in real life. It's a good thing I chose the squirrel because I'm all over the place. The first needlepoint class I took, I had never done needlepoint, but I wanted to learn. And so I signed up for one with Michael Bourne and I called him. And I said, look, I know how to stitch. I've never done needlepoint, but I know how to do some embroidery. And I think they're very similar stitches. And I know I can learn. I know I can do it. He's like, well, go ahead and come. And so I did. And he taught me. And I love it. I love it. And so then I wanted to do... and I wanted to learn because I wanted to do this class at nationals, not regional. It was a regional ANG in Baltimore, and it's been a long time. It's probably been 2007 or so. And there was a needlepoint piece that's called the Three Embroideresses. And it's got three women, and it's a drawn canvas. And they all have on these long flowing robes, and they all look different. Each robe is a different type of needlework. And so, like, one of them is black work, one of them is something else, one of them is something else. And it's one of the most beautiful things I've ever seen. And so I went to that class and really, I was not good enough to do that. And so I did some of the stitches and she never chastised me about it. She was really supportive about it. I feel like it might have been Gail Smyrna's. I can't remember now who it was. And she, and I did my best and I did okay. But it was pretty obvious that I did not know how to do it. And so I brought it home and I put it away and I waited till I got better. And I still haven't pulled it out, but I'm ready for it now. I was probably ready for it probably 3 years after I took the course and I just haven't pulled it back out yet, but I will. It's on my list to get to, if not this year, next year, because I love it so much. I just want to finish it. And I don't know if you have pieces like that you just love so much. You just want to do them. And I know I'm going to do that one. And, that means I need to get rid of some things I don't really love a lot. And so I've got to work on that too, of destashing. So I know you guys are doing that too. Well, it's 8 o'clock, and I've rambled now for, a little while. Does anybody have any questions about anything going on that I just didn't hit tonight? Cindy's cross stitch. Yes. Okay, Cindy, tell us yours too, because I love you. And that's the other thing I wanted to talk about. So I'm glad you popped up. And Cindy, and I believe it's DeRossi, is another floss tube that I love to watch because she always makes me smile. She's always so happy and such a pleasure to watch and so fun. And she does really neat things with her cross stitch. And she's also doing an ornament exchange. And so I'm going to do it, Cindy. I haven't sent you the email yet. I'm going to do it. But if you're looking for another floss tube to watch and you haven't been watching Cindy, you should watch her. And the fact that you're seeing me on video right now, you can credit to Cindy, because she came in the shop one time and she was like, how come you don't do floss tube? And I was like, what's floss tube? And this is probably like 2018. I was like, what's a floss tube? And she said, oh, you would love it. You could do it. You could, and she told me about it a little bit. And so I tucked it away in my memory. And then, I don't know, I guess in 2019 or so, I might have did the first one. So it is her fault that I worked up the courage and figured out what to do to actually do the videos. But Cindy, so, before you log off, post your floss tube channel here too. Hey, Jillian, watching from Australia. So you're early morning. Wow. Yeah, she does have a lot of energy. Cindy goes out and hikes and does all kinds of stuff, and Melanie does too. Melanie gets a lot of stuff finished. Is Alice a class pattern or a pattern to buy? It is online available to buy, so you can go out and buy Alice Ellen Usher, and right now she's on sale. So I said that early. So if you missed that, the new bristle sampler, Alice Ellen Usher. I'm not sure where I put her. She fell on the floor. Let me get her. Because I talked about her for so long and didn't get her back from the printer until just recently, she's on sale right now. But only if you watch this video will you know about it. So, she's PDF is available and the hard chart. And she's on sale for $5 off. So right now she's just $20. And I will tell you honest and true, this is the most expensive sampler I've ever bought. And so, and she took a while to chart, and she's big. So $20 is a great buy for Alice. And she'll be like that if you watch this video later. She'll be on sale through Sunday. Sometime Monday I'll take her off, so I don't promise that she'll be there on Monday. But probably if you beat me up in the morning on Monday, which is not hard to do, she'll still be on sale. So what's Cindy's floss tube? Cindy hasn't posted it yet. Come on, Cindy. Maybe I embarrassed her. I'll post it for her. So I will post it for her. Let me see if I can get it to pop up here real quick before we log off. So don't go away anywhere yet. We'll find it really quickly. You got it ordered, yay. That was quick, Deb. Ooh, that was quick. Let's see. Cindy's Cross Stitch, I think, is what it's called. Yep. So it's called Cindy's Cross Stitch. And she's just so much fun. So, you can't see, but that's what she looks like. And she's just really fun to watch. She does a lot of finishing. And she's just always happy. Yeah, stitch along. Everybody, stitch along for Alice Ellen Usher. We'll be stitching on her for a while. Unless somebody's speedy. So, I rambled a lot. Any other questions? Is the green silk variegated? It is variegated, but it doesn't look variegated. I mean, it says it's variegated, and it does have a slight variegation I'm looking at. I would say this is kind of well, it's called collard greens. It's kind of a grass green, and it does have some variegation, but it's not heavy. It's maybe from a dark to a little bit subtly lighter. So it's not heavy. It's got enough that it would look antique, I think, and that's it. Okay, so there's Cindy. So we got it on there. Okay, Jody, I'm glad to have you on too. Oh, I missed what you said, Beth. Might have to say it again. Anyway, Stitch along was the last thing I saw. I'm all for it. Order yours on Monday, Cheryl. Okay, so I'll leave it open for Monday. Um, okay. Well, I enjoyed it. Thank you for listening to me ramble. Yes, it is all your fault. It absolutely is your fault, Cindy. Um, so I appreciate you showing up. It was fun for me. It gives me something to look forward to, and I hope you enjoy it. And I will be posting for sure and for certain the nun stitch, probably tomorrow because I've got to finish my little piece. And you can adapt that and use it for your red February or any edge finishing. It's great on any kind of linen or Aida. You can use the nun stitch to finish. Eventually, I'll get you a hem stitch posted. I know there's some good videos out there, but I'll post one for you. And I'm going to video myself finishing the 17th, the block thing. And I'll be using Kathy's instructions, but sometimes it's good to watch, another person make mistakes. So I'll be doing that. So I hope you guys have a fabulous weekend and a really good week. And I just appreciate you being friends out there. I feel like I've got a whole bunch of friends out there. And my friend Barbara, who sent me the project bags, which I will share with you guys at a giveaway, said squirrels have family, And that just made me feel so good because it's true. I feel like a lot of you guys are family. And I'm pretty sure that if I got to know you all on a little bit better basis, I feel like you were all family. So I guess in the squirrel family, I'll volunteer to be the nutty one. Because I don't want to. I'm usually called the ham in my family. I'm the ham. And it's my job to bring ham to Thanksgiving dinner every year because I'm the ham. I know that's a big surprise. All right. Bye, guys. Have a good week. And I will see you again next Friday. All righty. Bye.